Hey, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the new game, Dog Park. I just got my Kickstarter copy a few days ago. I learned it and played it with 4 total players the other day. That's the maximum player count. Although the score pad does go up to 5, so maybe there's an expansion I didn't get that goes up to 5. I have the 4-player version, and I really had a lot of fun with it. In fact, I had multiple mechanisms that I'm going to mention today, but I think the number one mechanism for me is the breed expert, not breed master, the breed expert mechanism. I'll show you that on the board. At the beginning of the game, you take these cards. How many are there? 7 cards. There are 7 cards, and you'll line them up over here. And I don't know if you can see this, but this one should say 8 points. Yeah, 8 points, 7 points, 6 points. They go down in points. And so the cards don't have points associated with them. They are randomly placed here. And each card has a different breed type, a different dog breed type. There are 7 breeds of dogs in the game. And the cards also, let me see if I can show you one, they have percentages on them, which is a little bit, well, definitely helpful in the game. They say things like there are 15% of the dogs in the game are of this breed. And that way you have that information. Yeah, here's some breeds. Here's the toy breed, 11% there. I really like that they're including this information, terrier. And throughout the game, you're trying to get, if you want to, you can try to get certain breeds of dogs based on that point system. And what that point system is saying at the end of the game, if you have the most, say like toy dog, say this card randomly ends up at the top of that chart for 8 points. If you have the most toy dogs at the end of the game, you'll get 8 points. Or even if you are tied for the most toy dogs at the end of the game, you will get 8 points. And what I found, I really liked this idea, but what I found when I was playing that I really enjoyed is how much this made me pay attention to other players. I was definitely building my own engine. I'll talk about that in a second, and enjoying focusing on my own engine. But throughout the game, I was really looking around the table to see what other breeds of dogs other players were collecting, because it mattered. Their numbers, their quantities of each dog type, or at least the ones that I was also going after, really mattered for me in my decisions. I love things like this. So it's my favorite, or one of my favorite types of player interaction, where it gave me a true reason to pay attention to other players, not to hurt them, not to come in conflict with them, but to pay attention to what they were doing, because that made an impact on what I was doing. And it was also easy to see from across the table which breeds they had, because the cards are color coded. So for example, like you can probably see it on camera here, the green cards are pastoral dogs. Those are some dogs that I had. A lot of actually pastoral cards there. These kind of greenish yellow cards are hound dogs, so that's a little bit close to the green. There's another hound dog, lots of hound dogs here. Yeah, so anyway, you can easily look across the table and see the different colors of the cards from across the table, because the colors match up with the breed. And if you can't tell the difference between the colors due to maybe a vision impairment, the word is still on there. The word pastoral is on that card, for example. So anyway, I really love that mechanism. A few other quick mechanisms that I really like is that in the game, you are accumulating a total of 8 dogs. And each of the 4 rounds, you are selecting 3 of those dogs, and you're taking those dogs for a walk. The whole game is built around taking dogs on a walk. And you get some points for every dog that you take on a walk. Each dog also has abilities that trigger either when you put them on the leash, or put them on the lead, I think it's called, not the leash, put them on the lead. Some dogs have abilities at the end of the game. Some dogs have abilities while you're actually walking, if you walk them in certain places. But I really like this. This is a different style of engine building than what I usually see, because you have these 8 dogs, or where you'll eventually have 8 dogs. You'll start off with none, then you'll have 2, then 4, then 6, then 8. You'll gain 2 per round. But it means that you'll have some dogs that aren't really doing anything each round. You are choosing which dogs to use for your engine each round. So you can't ever really make your engine all that overpowered, because you are limited to the dogs that you actually put on the lead, and that is when you pay for the dogs. You have to pay to put the dogs on the lead. You kind of have to get them excited about going on a walk. So you have to pay them some treats or give them a stick or things like that. So I really like this. I don't quite know what to call it, but it's like a partial engine building. It's a selective engine building where your engine can change every round based on which dogs you decide to walk. What else did I really enjoy? Oh, just a little production thing. I thought this was really, really clever. So score pad here. We have the score pad. At the bottom of the score pad, they have the tiebreaker rules on the score pad itself. So you don't have to remember the tiebreaker. And not only do you not have to remember the tiebreaker, but having it here is a great way for you to tell players, or a great way to remind you to tell players what the tiebreaker is before you get to the end of the game. Because I'm sure you've played some games where you don't know about the tiebreaker and you kind of wish you did because you might have made slightly different decisions during the game based on the tiebreaker. So they include the tiebreaker instructions right here on the score pad. Brilliant little touch, brilliant little production touch. Oh, and the last thing that I thought was really clever, again, back to the board. Although I have some cards that'll make more sense if I show this to you. On the board, you have, when you're actually taking the dogs on a walk, you are walking them down this path. Here's part of the path. It can split, it actually does split up at a certain point. So you're just walking dogs down this path. It is a one-way action selection track, one of my favorite mechanisms. So you have to move forward on this track up to 1 to 4 spaces. And you're gathering a little benefit along the way. You can see these beautiful icons showing you what you gather. However, each round they mix this up a little bit, but they make it really easy to do that. So you're not like shuffling a bunch of cards or tiles or anything like that. To mix it up, each round, there's a random location card, and you can see this location card matches up with the one-way action selection track here, and it shows a few little things that you'll add to the track. So for example, we're going to put a reputation token right here, and what that's saying is that when you get to that spot, you gain this ability right here, and you gain a reputation. And the token stays there. This is a change for the entire round. It isn't the first player to get to that token. The token stays there, and all players who end up walking on that space or ending up on that space gain that benefit. So these little cards just mix it up in a really nice, easy to manage way each round that I thought that was really clever too. Yeah, I think those are my favorite mechanisms in the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've played Dog Park or if these mechanisms remind you of something that you've seen in another game. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below. Thanks.